everybody, it's Ron, and welcome back to the podcast. I am here with Jake. How you doing, Jake?
What's happening, everybody? So what are we doing today, Mr. Ron?
We are going to talk about a comic book.
Which comic book is that?
This is Jupiter's Legacy, Volume 1. I think the plan is maybe we can do 5 episodes on this because there are 5 volumes out now.
Oh, okay.
You know, the show came out on Netflix like a year ago, I want to say.
Right.
Probably could have been a little better, in my opinion.
Really?
I think the book is... I really like... It's one of my favorite things that Mark Millar has done.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I think the book is so good that any adaptation is not gonna live up to that.
Fall short a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't bad, but anyway, we're here to talk about the comic. So yeah. I lent you
the first
Volume
trade.
1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool because it's a kind of a revisit for me, and then this is your first reaction to Volume 1.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
So I think that's actually kind of a cool dynamic to go ahead and just go through these books if anybody's interested in hearing us just bullshit about
absolutely.
them. So yeah, I guess I'll start off by just saying what were your initial reactions, because I know I'm obviously a big fan of Mark Millar. I did a video on like a lot of his newer stuff.
Oh, okay.
And he actually shared it on Twitter. I'm pretty sure it's like not him, but it's okay. It's still cool. It was still cool that his Twitter shared it.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, so what were your first reactions to this?
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. I mean, I pretty much crushed it in one sitting. You know, it wasn't like too much of a laborious task to actually get through the book and stuff like that. It was an easy read, you know, which is indicative of somebody like Millar's writing. He's obviously pretty damn good at it at this fucking point. But it was all right. I liked it. It had a lot of different, it felt like it had a lot of different influences. It was coming from a whole lot of different directions. There was some of those tropes that we've all come to expect from comic books at this point, especially with superhero stuff. And he was subverting some of that, I think, throughout the story. But overall, it felt kind of familiar, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I just wasn't accustomed to, obviously, this is the first trade, so it's him building the foundation of these characters. So I'm just not familiar with the characters. Everything felt slightly superficial. You know, you have somebody named Mr. fucking Utopia, you know, you have just these kind of superficial kind of characters. And I'm interested in seeing where it goes. I think down the line, I think it's one of those ones that's going to be better in once you get through the whole story and you have context and there's a little bit more context of what's going on and shit like that. But overall, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't really a dense experience. Like there wasn't all of this crazy shit going on. One guy thought he knew best, trying to take over some shit or, you know, put himself in a position of power amongst the elite in the country. The old guard kind of trying to stand their ground and keep the status quo and shit like that. And then all the bullshit going on, the drama with the kids and stuff. A lot of it was the drama with the kids. I think that's maybe what threw me off with this read, or specifically the first trade. That stuff has really never done anything for me. I mean, overall, it was a good read. You know, like definitely not a bad comic.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. You know, it's funny. The copy I have, if you look at this was the, you know, if you get a new version of this Volume 1 that has like the Netflix logo on it,
right?
It'll be a different price, because if you look at the back of that comic right now, the Volume 1 back in the day, all Image Volume 1s were $9.99.
Yeah,
because they wanted you to kind of just pick up the first volume of stuff.
Way of getting you into it,
I don't think they do that anymore, but that was awesome back in the day, because I would just, you know, pick up a random Image trade. But it's awesome that I have that. You know, that is a pretty good deal. You're getting a Mark Millar and Frank Quitely book for $9.99.
Dude, you can't go wrong.
Yeah,
dude, and it really was. It was a good read. Like, if you haven't read this, by all means, fucking pick it up. It's a really good read. Doesn't it suck though when these properties are kind of bought out by something like Netflix or HBO or something like that? Because now you want to buy Game of Thrones or something. Now you just have that fucking Kit Harington schmuck all over everything you buy, the books wise and stuff. You just can't get a normal edition of Game of Thrones. It's
funny. I refuse to buy those editions of things like that have the movie characters on it. Yeah,
fucking horrible.
I don't do that. But yeah, so that's interesting that you say you didn't really care that much about the kids, because at least in this trade, I found that to be one of the more compelling things.
Right.
especially the two. So the Utopian, his two kids,
right? The
was
daughter,
it Chloe
and
and Brandon?
Okay, yeah.
Chloe's kind of just like a druggy, like party chick,
Reminds me of my ex-girlfriend.
but but she's also, you could tell there's something deep down, like she's not like a bad person or anything. She's just kind of
she's
a
fucked
mess.
Up. She's fucked up like everybody's fucked up, right?
But then you get this sense with Brandon in the beginning of it where he's kind of, he's talking to his uncle, Brainwave or whatever,
right.
And I guess they're kind of.
I kind of liked him.
He's a cool character, a cool villain. I liked
more or less how he fucks with people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't realize when you're in one reality or another reality, kind of a thing. So but it really reminded me of Professor X. Like, if Professor X is a prick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no, it was good. But yeah, so with Brandon, there was that thing I guess that's an aspect I don't really like about characters. It's a problem I have with a lot of characters, to depend whatever fucking those ones with something to prove. You know what I mean? Like, and Utopia's what the hell's his name? Utopia Man?
The Utopian.
Oh, the Utopian.
Yeah.
Utopian is like, obviously some kind of like Superman kind of character. And then you have the kid who's never going to amount to his father. And so he has to band together with some other fuck to take control. It's like a story we've heard so many times.
Yeah, you know what? I think not all the time, but Mark Miller does that in a lot of his books.
Right.
But I just feel like he's totally aware that he's doing it.
Self-aware, yeah.
And I think he's just so much better at it than other people that do those
absolutely
type of
definitely
whatever those type of story beats.
Yeah,
or
plot
whatever
structures, whatever.
Yeah, even if it's like cliche or whatever.
Definitely.
I do think he does it a little better than most people.
It's not what it's about. It's how it's about it.
So yeah, I like that aspect. I also like there are things hinted, like the history of everything is hinted at a little bit.
Right there at the beginning, really.
Yeah, because there is a lot. The cool thing about this book, that's a little bit different than his other stuff.
Right.
His other titles are kind of like a blockbuster movie. Like each story, especially if it's a one-off and it's just like 4-issue miniseries or a 6-issue miniseries, it is just like a one-off movie to me. Like it's like a blockbuster movie. And this one seems like it has more world building to it and more lore to it.
Right.
Which is, I mean, it was new for him at the time, but I still don't really think, I'm trying to think if he does it with any of his other titles. Mm-hmm. And I think this one is unique in that sense.
Right.
So that's cool too, because I like stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So it is nice to see little nuggets dropped here and there. You're like, oh, I wonder what that's about. Right. And then I'm trying to think of the way I want to show you this, because there are 2 prequel trades.
Right.
So I think I'll do it how it came out. So this first volume came out, and then Jupiter's Circle came out. So that's the prequel. So I guess I'll give that to you to read next.
Okay.
And then there's 2 trades of that, and then you jump back to this
Legacy.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
It sucks because you can't just jump right into this. Like, oh, I want to see what happens next.
Right.
But at the same time, it will give you that context that I think you're looking for with the older characters.
I think that's a big part of what my issue was after reading this. It was just a lot of questions. You know what I mean? Stupid shit like that. Where is this going? What the hell's this asshole's problem?
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on over there? You know what I mean? Like, just shit like that, really.
Nothing but I guess crazy. You're not really, with all first trades like this, you're not really supposed to know everything right away. Mm-hmm. But it's at least as long as you weren't completely lost and could follow the story, I feel like it's okay to kind of just hint at stuff and not really tell everyone everything right away.
Right. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's also not exactly dark. Like, there's a lot of dark shit going on, especially towards the end there, once they try and take over everything. Like, all right. So I guess if you were going to sit there and go through it, so what's kind of the premise there? So there's the status quo, that everybody gets their superpowers fucking back in the 40s or something like that, or back in the 30s or some shit like that.
Yeah, they all went to this mysterious island, and that's where they got their powers. And then I'm assuming everybody in the future that has, when you see different villains and stuff, and a lot of different people have powers, I guess it was... I don't know. I guess just like breeding, like once the people that got powers went back to civilization
and started fucking other people.
Yeah,
like creating this problem.
Just started creating other superpowers. I guess that's how it goes. I'm revisiting all this. So
These superhero abilities are a venereal disease in this story.
That'd be cool. What were we talking about?
So they get their superpowers after this kind of it's the opening of the book, like this Indiana Jones style.
Oh yeah,
King Kong kind of thing. It kind of reminded me of like they're going to Skull Island, and then it just kind of jumps straight into the modern day. The old guard is taking care of some shit, and the kids aren't taking shit seriously, or the ones that they think should be taking it seriously aren't showing up and doing what they should be doing.
Yeah.
And so there's just this animosity there, I guess, right from the beginning, and from both sides, because obviously the Utopian and his kid are like they're on the outs, and then you have, I guess it's his brother-in-law or his brother. Or something.
It's his brother.
I think it's his brother. It has to be his brother because he
because it's Brandon's
wife,
uncle.
Right?
Yeah,
all right. And I guess they feel, or the uncle feels, I don't remember his name, the Professor X.
Oh, Brainwave?
Brainwave.
Yeah.
Who fucking, I guess he wants to put himself in a position of power because he feels like he can solve all of these international or global issues and stuff. It's kind of ridiculous. Really egotistical kind of shit. Obviously, it feels like the one group of people that don't want that to happen are kind of the ones who we're following in the story for some strange reason. So it's weird. So it's like there were 4 decent superheroes or whatever out of the fucking 60 of them that are getting all pissed off and ended up turning on the Utopian and the kids and all that shit. And basically where the story, because it jumps kind of time a few times in this comic book.
Mm-hmm.
You have the old shit and then it jumps into like the modern, like this is the start of that problem.
Yeah.
And then it jumps forward again a little while after, they decide it's like, dude, you're not going to do that. And if you do, I'll kick the shit out of you kind of conversation they had. And then it jumps again after Chloe gets pregnant or whatever the fuck, and they have the kid already, and the kid starts acting up and being weird.
Yeah.
It's like it's all over the place, this story,
Well, I really like that aspect because going through everything,
right,
all 5 volumes, I think Hutch and then his dad, who's Skyfox, who is in Jupiter's Circle more, like you get more context for him, are probably my 2 favorite characters. And I first of all, I like that he doesn't really have superpowers or anything. He just has that thing where he can teleport like anywhere with it.
Right, it's not even a superpower. It's just
but it's like the way he uses it is so cool against people that do have powers.
Right.
So I like that aspect of it, that he's like kind of like a piece of shit too, and then he ends up with Chloe.
Right.
But then they turn out to be kind of like the good guys compared to everybody.
Yeah, right. And they're far from perfect.
Yeah.
And,
But I also like that in the beginning of this, all the kids, I think that's what I like more about the book than the show, because in the show, Brandon like has a superhero costume. And it just didn't work as well with me because I like in the book how, the Utopian, everybody, they all have like the classic superhero outfits on. And then Brandon is Utopian son.
Okay.
I like that he's just like, I don't give a shit. He's just wearing regular clothes. And
right.
He's like a Superman.
He looks like he just came off like a binge or something like that.
And I like that. I like that he likes, Frank quietly makes him look a little more like dingy in this. And in the show, he's just kind of like a normal guy with a superhero costume. And it didn't work with me as well. So I like that whole aspect. I think that's kind of what initially drew me into the story more than like all the hints at the history of everything.
Right.
And then once you get into that, that's cool too. But I think he was smart enough to do the family drama stuff. Because I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. Like, oh shit, it's a family member and he's turning on him. And it's like The Godfather, you know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of what sucked me into it initially. Definitely. I mean, there's a lot of cool things coming down the line if you stick with it, but
so is the story like done? Like, is it?
No, I think there's going to be 6 volumes. So the 5th one came out like the trade came out pretty recently.
Okay.
And then I think there's going to be one more, and then that'll like finish the whole saga or whatever. Because I think the whole thing is to kind of explain exactly how they did get the powers and everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like to finally figure it out. But it spans like generations. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. I like how cogent some of these comic book artists or writers are with some of their storytelling when it's outside of the context of usually like where they got their start, like something like Batman, some of these Marvel or DC properties, like, and they finally branch out and do something on their own. You can kind of get an idea of what you're dealing with to a certain degree. It wasn't a bad read. I didn't really have any preconceived notions or anything like that. I didn't have any baggage going in with it. It really wasn't bad. It jumped around a lot, not in any way that was really too jarring or had any real effect on the story, really. But it didn't stick. It didn't stay in any one place for too long. You know, it is what it is. Depending on the story, it works. But I'm interested to see where it goes. You know, it wasn't bad. You know, like.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what you're gonna think about Jupiter's Circle.
Okay.
Because it really just follows all the parents, like in this, when they were younger.
Right.
So it's like a period piece, but it's all them when they were, you know, in their prime as far as superheroes go.
It's the what is it? What did they call themselves? The Minutemen and the Watchmen.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that, and I think he's doing that on purpose. It's like, let me do my Minutemen, let me do my version of Watchmen with all this stuff. It's cool. So yeah, so you got to get through 2 of those. So I would say the next podcast we do should be about the first Jupiter Circle.
Right.
I actually have, you know what's so funny? I was digging around the other day. I actually have the first 6 issues, like the first miniseries.
Right.
I have all the issues for that, and I forgot. I just put new bags and boards in them because I'm like, oh shit, every single cover, even though he didn't draw it, every single cover is Frank Quietly. I was like, damn, really? It was awesome. So I'm like, I'm keeping these.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Even though I have the trades, I'm like, I'm keeping these. So that was a good find. But yeah, so I think it was a really solid start to this series. Mm-hmm. The only thing that sucks is like Frank Quietly does such detailed stuff that it takes a while for him to do it. So I think what Mark Miller did, and I'm just guessing because I've never heard him really talk about this, but I think he was probably planning on doing just one Jupiter Circle, just one little prequel story.
Right.
And then have Frank Quietly come back to do the proper sequel to Jupiter's Legacy.
Oh, okay.
But he was probably taking a while doing it. So he's like, all right, shit, I'm going to do a volume 2 of Jupiter Circle.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think we're pretty far removed from what it was way back in the day with this idea of monthly comics.
Yeah.
And stuff like that I think if it is some of these people like Frank Quietly, you know, even the writers, people like Millar, Morrison, whatever, like, dude, don't make them crank it out every 3 fucking weeks. Like, if they need a little time, give them the fucking time, you know, like at this point, you know, I mean, fucking A. I couldn't imagine that grind back in the day. And there were some crazy comic books that were coming out just on a monthly basis for some of these fucking people. It was just fucking insane, dude.
I know.
You have your Ramirez, you fucking Barry Windsor, what the hell's his name? Smith,
yeah.
Fucking crazy. But I don't know. In all, really not a bad comic book.
Cool.
Fucking worth checking out for sure.
Yeah, I thought you would be more into this than if like I gave you something else that wasn't superhero based, maybe, because I think this is kind of more up your alley. You know?
Yeah, it's not that bad, especially because it's not something I would have picked myself.
Right.
I read a lot of darker stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he writes too much horror based stuff,
really
like
doesn't.
Like full horror, like full.
Well, he pushes it with Old Man Logan a little bit. I think that's as grody as he's ever gotten.
Yeah, no, I guess I meant just like he gets violent.
Hulk family and shit. Like, it's like, okay, it's taking it a little far.
I mean, obviously he has a lot of like violent material, but I'm saying like just a straight up, this is a horror concept. I don't think so. There's some elements.
Sure.
The only thing I could think of right now is he has a newer book called The Magic Order that has like some horror elements, because like in that world there could be like ghosts or whatever, like monsters.
It's more paranormal, I guess.
So that's the only thing I can really think of. But yeah, maybe that's kind of why he was off your radar, because you tend to like more horror stuff.
Dude,
so
I like shit that's really depressing typically, or really brutal, and Japanese horror, manga, all that kind of crazy fucking shit, crazy European fucking shit, EC comics. I like dark shit. You know, so it takes a lot for me to kind of go out of my comfort zone and read newer superhero type stories.
Yeah.
But honestly, I wasn't disappointed with this one. This one,
good,
really
man.
fucking good, man.
Good. All right. I'm glad you liked it. I'm like I said, I'm interested about Jupiter Circle. I could go either way with you.
I'm sure.
I don't know if you'll like it or not. And I also don't know if you'll love the art style because it changes drastically from this.
Right.
And I think on purpose to kind of make it seem like, okay, this is older, this is an older time.
Right.
So yeah, no. I think we should do this, man. I think we should do well, right now we'll hopefully eventually do 6, but we should do 5 episodes on each of these books, and then I'll give me an excuse to reread all of them.
So fucking A. Call it a Jupiter's Retrospective.
Yeah. There you go. Actually, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Jupiter's Retrospective.
But it really wasn't bad. I'm looking forward to just checking out the fucking next one.
All right, cool. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go in order, like how it was.
Yeah,
because you know how people say, like, oh, how are you going to show your kids Star Wars? Are you going to show them the original 4, 5, 6 and then go 1, 2, 3? Like, how would you show? I'm going to
show them at how George Lucas intended. If he wanted to start with the Phantom Menace, he would have made the Phantom Menace.
Well, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing this, because this was the first book to technically come out.
No,
so there you go.
It was good. It was good. I was just surprised. The only thing that really struck me about it specifically was how brief it felt. It fucking moved.
Yeah, well, he's like that, though. He's good at that. It's like he's good at pacing everything.
Oh, no, definitely. It's like kind of a James Cameron kind of pacing thing. Like James Cameron's like super tight with how he does everything, his dialogue, and even how he kind of felt similar with this.
Yeah, I've never read anything by Mark Miller where I was like, oh, this is a slog, man. It's hard to get through. It's always pretty fast paced and fun.
So it's good. That's why it doesn't. It's not like stressful that I'm going into.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I have to read Jupiter's Circle. I'm not stressed out about it.
No, dude, and you'll knock out the first volume of Jupiter's Circle. So
all right, no.
But, all right, man. I'm excited.
I appreciate the recommendation, dude.
Yeah, this should be fun now. This was just kind of like to ease into it. So this was the whole introduction. It's pretty basic. Like I think we hit all of the main drama of this stuff. But I think when we go into the prequel stuff, we can maybe talk about more of the history of like the world and everything.
Yeah, because I think maybe that's what was lacking in this first volume for me. It was so much about the dynamic between the Utopian character and his brother, and then him and Utopian and his wife, and then Utopian and his son and his daughter, and then their relationship with the world around them, and kind of what they have to deal with their family. And you get that little bit about them being advertised with them and all that shit. But there's, other than like the family dynamic and then the drama amongst themselves and then the drama they're creating around them, you get no context about the world or anything like that in this first trade. So that also kind of was just like, that's disappointing.
Okay, yeah, I think when you read a couple more of the trades, I think it'll start to make a little bit more sense.
That's why I'm all about the prequel thing, so we'll see where it goes, man. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, cool. All right, well, there you go.
All right.
Sounds good.
It was fun, man.
Thanks for reading it and giving it a shot. Absolutely. And all right, so we'll be back next time with we're going to do the first trade volume 1 of Jupiter's Circle.
Yep, fucking A.
All right.
See what happens. All right, Ron.
Take care, buddy. We'll see you next time.
See you.
Hey everyone, it's Ron here with a quick announcement. When I started this channel, I was reading and reviewing the Dune books and other sci-fi related material, and most of you might not know that I'm also a musician. So when I was reading these sci-fi books, I started to get inspired and decided to make my own soundtrack to use for my videos, and now I'm excited to tell you all about the first volume in the Ron Reviews original soundtrack collection. This album includes the first 17 tracks featured on my channel, and it's available now exclusively on Bandcamp. Be sure to check the description of this video for the link to the album. Thanks so much for the support so far. I know I'm just starting out, but I hope you're having as much fun as I am. So check out the original soundtrack Volume 1 on Bandcamp. This music is great if you want something moody and atmospheric to listen to while you're reading some science fiction. I think you're going to love it. Thanks.